Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As you probably can guess or not, New Japan once again became host to their brethren in Mexico. That's right, their brothers from CMLL, with, of course, Fantastica Mania showcasing the best luchadors coming from Mexico. So you have a stack of wrestlers making their presence known. However, we're only going to focus on day 7, 1 through 6. That's going to be a little difficult, but for now, let's just focus on this one. And then, of course, we move on with TNA featuring, of course, talent coming from NXT, but at the same time, battle lines are being drawn for their upcoming pay per view Sacrifice. So anything could happen before we get there. And then, of course, Ring of Honor feature many matches as well in this one. Of course, CML talent also made their presence known on that very particular day as well. So I'm excited to go through all of it for all of you. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling views from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. I believe this time to rock and roll. So let's begin with our very first review, and this one is, of course, New Japan presents CML Fantastica Mania 2025 Day 7. New Japan presents CML's Fantastica Mania. Now, for those who are new to this channel, if you don't know what this event is, let me explain to you. Many talents from CML make their way to Japan to showcase their talent and skill to the Japanese wrestling fan base, who are, of course, fans of the lucha libre style. If you ever notice, many of their Japanese wrestlers also wear masks. Some do the whole lucha libre thing too. Wrestlers in the past who have been in Mexico, such as Ultimo Dragon and a few others, understood the history. But it's fun to see these guys now. They do this collaboration with them every year for a certain amount of time. However, due to the fact that when this tour started, I did not see day six, one through day six, day 1 through 6, due to the fact that I don't think they were broadcast on their New Japan Live on demand which of course is a bummer. But however, I was able to see this one. So we're gonna go through all of it, and this took place recently, of course, on a Thursday in Japan in Korakuen Hall. So let's begin with our first match. First match, we have Kamaitachi and Titan versus Max Star, and hopefully I pronounced this right. If not, there you go. Zelhua. I don't know who that guy is named, but I am familiarized with certain names that we know of. Of course, Kamaitachi. Those who don't know, that was the alter ego that Hiromu Takahashi used to wear. Some people say it's still Hiromu, but we cannot either confirm or deny who it is. However, the match was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's not the best, but it did feature, of course, some great showcase with Titan, who is well recognized in Japan. Not to mention the only his Mexican wrestler who is the only member joining Los Ingobernables de Japón. If that's right. So he picked up the win when he applied the El Inmortal onto Zelhua, and just like that, it was over. One, two, three. It was over. Next up, we have Ninja Mac and Hechiseto teaming up, which is a very unique team. Teaming up against El Desperado and Barbaro Cavenariero. Now, of course, the match was going great as much as possible. You probably would think there is. However, there's a certain rule that you're not supposed to do when it comes to lucha libre, is to remove the wrestler's mask because it's a sign of disrespect, and of course, it could either give you a disqualification. That's exactly what happened. Bávaro Calamero decided to take it way too far by removing Hechiceto's mask, resulted into, of course, going out of crazy. Now, the only reason Barbaro did what he did, he said it in Spanish, but I'm going to say it to you guys in English, that this was payback for all the years that he put him through pain. Those who know this, Hechiseto is one of the best technical wrestlers in Mexico, and of course, he had faced the best wrestlers who are in the same caliber like him, like Zack Sabre Jr. and all that. So that's what happened. Of course, they were going to continue on even when the match was over. I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a match between those two at some point. I'm sure it's not going to be in Japan, but it could happen in Mexico. Who knows? Now our next match, this is a championship match. No, not for titles within from the for the IWGP or the CML titles. These are from the Major League Wrestling promotion. That's right, MLW. Um, Cozy Max, consistent of Okumura and Satoshi Kojima, defend their tag belts against Los Depredadores, consisting of Magnus and Rugido. Now, some of you may question why are these titles are defended. Remember, Satoshi Kojima is a New Japan wrestler, and so is Okumura. But however, Okumura has been spending majority of his career recent for the last couple years. I don't know how long in Mexico. Of course, he's the resident Japanese wrestler who can translate for wrestlers from Japan to Mexico. So that's what his purpose. But he's good friends with Kojima. And of course, you would think the match was going to be good. I mean, we saw some machine gun chops from Kojima, but however, this match ended with Kojima applying a lariat onto Magnus, retaining their belts. So it was a pretty good match. Our next match, we have Zandokan Jr. taking on Neon. Now, those who don't know Zandokan Jr., he teamed up with Yoda Tsuji during World Tag League at one point. And of course, Tsuji was trying to have Naito to consider of having Condora Jr. Join Lij in the future, other than having Titan, because he really likes this guy. So, of course, Naito will say he'll consider it when he proves himself that he's worthy to carry the Lij name with him. But however, this match ended with, of course, Neon applying a somewhat of a 630 move, the same kind that Justin Gabriel actually did on many wrestlers back in WWE. So that allowed him to pick up the win. Our next match, we have an interesting 8-man tag match. We have, of course, the ace and the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi. He teams up with Stigma, uh, Máscara Dorada, and of course, the Príncipe de Plata, or as you say, the Prince of, Silver, Místico. They take on Taiji Shimori, Raider, Soberano Jr., and Averno. So, of course, there'll be some interesting moments. I mean, we know that Mascara Dorada and Soberano Jr. have no love lost for each other. They've been in each other's throats. But however, it was, of course, Stigma who picked up a fantastic win on Raider when he applied a sunset flip, giving, of course, him and his team a good win for themselves. Now, our next match, we have singles action. We have Ultimo Guerrero taking on Atlantis Jr. Now, what's interesting is this, those who don't know this, Atlantis Jr. used to be a member of Ultimo Guerrero's, no, Atlantis Sr., his dad, Atlantis Jr.'s dad, used to be a member of Ultimo Guerrero's unit, but they were also known as the Guerrero Atlantica or something like that. But I mean, you have Atlantis Jr., who is a rising star taking on a veteran like Ultimo Guerrero. But in the end, it was Atlantis Jr. who picked up a win with the Frog Splash, and then, of course, showed a lot of respect for a veteran and a legend like Ultimo Guerrero. So that's pretty touching. Now, our main event, it features Volador Jr. and Templario. Uh, of course, a lot of good moments in this match, but however, the thing that kind of turned it around was, of course, Volador Jr.'s buddies, who's also a member. He's also a member of the group known as Los. Let me pull out the name real quick. Los Depredadores. Magnus pulled out the referee, Red Shoes, and of course, Magnus and Rugido helped Volador Jr. then applied a backbreaker, and just like that, it was completely over with Volador Jr. winning. But however, the post match, it was a 3-on-1 scenario. Now, some of you may question why. Why would Volador Jr. attack Templario like this? Easy. He was looking at Templario like saying, you joined a foreign unit claiming that they rule the entire world. So he feels now he doesn't care what the world thinks of him now, despite of everything. He may be a member of the United Empire, but I often question, what does TJP and the rest of the United Empire have to think of this, of them doing that? Well, I don't know. Hopefully, there's probably going to be a war, but we'll see. But we'll see what happens down the road. But as for now, we'll end things here. I do know there is going to be another show. Hopefully, I review it, but we'll get to that. But right now, let's move on with, of course, TNA. Okay, TNA. Well, it opened up with the system, of course, going out on the way, doing their promo, telling the entire wrestling world who runs TNA. However, amongst this promo, Brian Myers brought up two individuals who made their debut last week, and we're talking about the Colognes. Now, the Colognes made their presence known, saying that, they all are about legacy and all that, because they don't like the type of thing, like, for example, guys like Joe Hendry and Elijah, who are, in their own honest opinion, are calling it, they're making a mockery about pro wrestling in their own godforsaken minds. So they decided to join the system. So that's going to be an interesting thing. Now, before we get to our match involving the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles, Spitfire, we're making, of course, about their thoughts of the match they put themselves in, defending their belts against Ash by Elegance and Heather. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure that they are confident that this is going to be on their way. Now, Leon Slater, of always, was minding his own business until he runs into those idiots, the system. As you know, the system were trying to persuade him to join them. But however, they had the backup like the Hardys right there. The Hardys were backing Leon Slater because they believe in him. But of course, the system believes that he needs to put this whole looking at your idols thing and just act like a grown up. Well, who cares about what the system says? But we'll get to that at some point. Mike Santana, as you know, had an interesting match with a NXT talent, and that is Oro Mensa. It was a pretty good match, I'm not going to lie. I mean, but he did walk away with the win when he applied the spin to block. However, during the post match, Mustafa Ali, as you all know, last week showed up in one of those AA meetings that Mike Santana, he decided to get under his skin. And now Mustafa took it way too far, saying that Mike Santana is back on the bandwagon, and of course, he did not take it kindly. He went into the back looking for Mustafa Ali. So he was about to tell him that I'm going to put my foot up, you know what. And then, of course, we'll see what happens from there. Now, our next match, we have Tessa Blanchard, who, of course, she did not want to play by anybody's rules, but she had no other choice. So she has to wrestle a wrestler named Kelsey Heather. Well, while this match was happening, Masha Slamovich actually was watching from the back, and that's exactly what was going on. But however, of course, Tessa won with the Busta sauce, and just like that, it was over. However, during the match was over, Masha was attacked by Cora Jade, telling her, "You're so worried about Tessa Blanchard. You should be worried about me." I mean, right now, from what Masha looks in her point of view, that the entire TNA Knockouts division is in fact at stakes, with Tessa Blanchard making a mockery of what's going on. So we'll see what happens. Now we did see a little surprise, talk between Joe Hendry and Elijah. So there's a lot of things going on, but of course Elijah realizes, look, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm here because I'm gonna stab you in the back while I got a guitar and all that. But they feel like you and I can work together and do some great music in the front. And of course, the system once again trying to make their mark, saying that they should just shut up and do what they said because they're the ones that run the show. But of course, I don't think Elijah and Hendry like what they're seeing. Our next match, we have Casey Navarro versus Steve Macklin. But however, of course, the Northern Armory, especially Eric Young, were watching this match. But of course, Steve Macklin took care of business when he applied the KIA onto Navarro. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Now, when Tessa Blanchard was leaving, she runs into Li Ying Li, of course, telling her, does she even speak English and all that. Once again, they're about to start something, but Santino decided to make this match official between them in sacrifice. So that's going to be interesting to see. But of course, the entire time, Li Ying was telling her, you talk too much. So that's a very understatement right there. Now, our next match is the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles. The loser becomes a concierge for 24 hours. Will it be Heather and Ash to walk away or become the Stooges for Spitfire, or will it be Spitfire themselves winning or becoming Stooges? Well, you probably can guess there's going to be a lot of moments in this match where it's going to be fun. However, it was of course the little Chihuahua getting in the way again, you know, and then we did see the pressure drop on Heather once again, and Jody picked up the win. So you can guess the torture when they lost. I mean, Heather, Heather and Ash not agreed to, felt like they didn't agree to it, but Santino says you made the deal, so it's final. So they had to be 24 hours doing all the bidding of both for Spitfire. So must have been real torture. So it was a real moment. However, our next match, we have Mance Warner versus Sami Callihan. Well, you probably can guess this match went totally ape by a disqualification by Sami Callihan whacking Warner with Mance with the chair. The security even tried to intervene, tried to maintain both men, but however, things did not go according to plan. But Santino came up with the idea they will continue this little war and sacrifice in a street fight. But however, Sammy was like, hell no, I'm not waiting that long. So he just decided to go all the way. Now, before our next match started, we did see Wes Lee along with his cronies, DuPont and Igwe, making their presence known in commentary because the next match features Frankie Kazarian and Ace Austin. Now, remember, Ace Austin, along with the Rascals, are dealing with Wes Lee and Tyson DuPont. But of course, like any other match, Wes Lee was going to interfere, but it did allow for Frank Kazarian to apply the slingshot cutter to pick up the win. And of course, like any match, of course, Lee and his cronies attacked Ace Austin, but luckily the Rascals showed up with chairs to show them who's boss. But they will meet at Sacrifice. Now, our main event, it features, of course, Brian Myers, Edwards, and Moose taking on Oba Femi and the Hardys. Now, of course, you ask yourselves, where the hell is the Colognes and JDC? They're probably hiding. But, of course, Alicia Edwards gets involved. And not to mention, like we did see, JDC gets involved in all this. and so the Cologne. So basically, all hell break loose. Jeff might have been hurt the entire time, and then of course it was Moose that speared Matt Hardy, and just like that, it was over. And then there was a beatdown coming up. But however, here comes Joe Hendry and Elijah to even the odds, and then Santino decided that, of course, even though the system doesn't like how things Santino runs, well, he decided there's going to be a attacked some interesting involvements with the system. Moose will defend the X Division title against Jeff Hardy and Sacrifice, but he wasn't done there. He decided that Myers, Eddie, JDC, along with the Colognes, will team up to take on Joe Hendry, Elijah, and Matt Hardy, and two partners of their choosing. So that's going to be interesting to see. So I'm kind of excited to go what's going to happen in Sacrifice. But there was an exclusive content where, of course, Matt was willing to admit, yes, Jeff Hardy has his own things to do with Moose, but he said he's going to make a few calls to call in some favors. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, by the time we get to Sacrifice, we'll find out who are these surprises. But for now, we are done with TNA. Let's move on with our last and final review, Ring of Honor. Our final review, Ring of Honor. It opened up with, of course, with excellent lucha libre style. We have Ensfige, Fuego, not Fuego del Sol in case anybody else, just plain old Fuego, and Atlantis Senior, not Junior, in case anybody asks. So it was a pretty interesting matchup, and they faced against Euphoria, Gran Guerrero, and of course Rocky Romero. Now, some of you may question, what the hell is Rocky doing with these guys? Now, there's a different side of Rocky when you see him. When it comes to a Ring of Honor, he's a babyface. But when it comes to him going to CML, well, he's a rudo. So basically, teaming up with two rudos brings out that part of him. So you probably can guess there are going to be some dirty tactics coming his way. But of course, things did not go according to plan for Rocky when he ended up being pinned by Ensmihe, giving him the perfect victory for himself right there, making on his debut in CML. Our next match, we have La Catalina taking on Lady Frost. So basically, it was a pretty good match. I mean, La Catalina, I have seen her before a few times. But however, Catalina applied like a somewhat of a big splash onto her into Lady Frost, giving her a very fantastic win. Next match, we have Beast Mortos taking on Adam Priest. Now, this was a pretty interesting match, and I have noticed some details on this one. The last time these two faced together was in an AW Collision, and of course, Beast Mortos won. But however, the match did a little longer than it usually did. Of course, I think Adam Priest must have done his homework, but however, it was not enough because Beast Mortos applied the Destination Hellhole, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Our next match, we have the Infantry taking on Rosario Grillo and Jimmy Wild. Now, of course, we will see some tactics coming from Infantry as always, but however, they made a statement made when they applied first the boot camp and then the double stomp onto Wild, but it was the captain Sean Dean, who picked up the win, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. Our next up, we have Blake Christian taking on Fuego del Sol. As you know, Ring of Honor was in Austin, Texas, and Fuego is a native. Well, he is the adopted son of Texas, despite the fact that he's from Oklahoma. So it was a pretty good match. It would have been Fuego's crowning achievement. But however, Blake Christian, with his cocky, smirky attitude, he walked away with the win when he applied his version of the Mudo lock that he now calls the Valeno Choke Zero. And just like that, Fuego had no choice but to tap out. Now, Athena put out a video promo congratulating La Catalina for winning her match. But the one thing she did not like is that Catalina did not, of course, acknowledge Athena as the forever champion. I don't think Catalina cares or even wants to congratulate someone who thinks she's all that. But she did say that she was going to put her title on the line the following week. Now, for note here, I did see that match. That was part of the Ring of Honor thing, and I will put clips of that as well on the upcoming DWZ Wrestling at the event. So stay tuned for that. Our next match, we have Dark Panther versus Gravity. So it's great to see. Now, those who don't know Dark Panther, he is the middle son of the legend Blue Panther. Yeah, Blue Panther Jr. is his big brother, and there is another brother he has, the youngest, who goes by Hijo de Blue Panther. So, however, throughout this entire match, you did see Commander showing up. I want to put this on note. Commander was appearing in a match that involved Dark Panther when ROH was here in San Diego, or should I say Oceanside, and I'll get to that in a bit. But I'll get to that until we release that video. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, um, I was like the Gravity, who we haven't seen so much. Those who know Gravity, he is the younger brother of Bandito. It's been a while since we've seen him. We haven't seen him since he was released from AEW, but seeing him again was great. But however, it was Dark Panther who walked away with the win when he applied a missile dropkick, and just like that, he wins. Now, our main event, it features, of course, Soberano Jr., Magnus, and Volador Jr. taking on Máscara Dorada, Templario, and, of course, Atlantis Jr. So it was a pretty good match, I have to say, really fun and enjoyable. I know that, of course, Soberano Jr. had his issues towards certain wrestlers in this match, but in the end, it was um, Atlantis Jr. who walked away with the win with the applied frog splash on Magnus, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he wins the match. His entire team wins as well. So, even though his father did not made the win earlier in the match, but it was a win entirely. But yeah, so it's great to see the both Atlantis Senior and Junior winning their matches. So that was pretty much it what we have for Ring of Honor. So let's do our last and final thing: news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. As always, let's begin with upcoming events from the promotions. As always, we'll begin with GCW with upcoming events with them as well. So, as you probably know, they will be here in San Diego for the I Feel So show on the 28th of February. Two matches have been announced for that particular day. The first one we have Cold Roderick versus Sam Stackhouse. Well, let's see what Cole Roderick can do because Sam Stackhouse, well, he's a big dude, but how will he take him out? We'll see. And of course, the Jersey Championship Wrestling title will be defended. Masha Simons defends her belt against Jordan Cruz, who is a local from here. I have seen him and met him a few times, but that's going to be interesting to watch. Our next match, our next event that takes place on the 31st by GCW, the coldest winter in LA. Three matches have been announced. We have like a bit of a scramble match here. We have Jack Cartwheel versus Mr. Danger versus Jai Vidal versus Jimmy Lloyd versus JKM and versus Ray Horace. So that's going to be interesting. We do have Fuego del Sol taking on Starboy Charlie. That's going to be really interesting. And then finally we have Sabu. That's right. Sabu taking on Joey Janela. Joey Janela is going to present him with the award for inducting him into the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I've been hearing because, as you know, Sabu is on the verge of retirement. So just letting you guys know. And then, of course, on the 3rd of March, GCW will be in Phoenix for the Just Being Honest show. The GCW tag team titles will be defended. The Garbage Daddies defends their belts against, of course, the current West Coast Pro Tag Team Champions, Crush Boys. That's right. Titus Alexander and, of course, Starboy Charlie. Then the GCW World title will be defended. Effie defends his belt against Super Crazy. Yep, that's going to be fun. And then on the 24th of March, they will be in Chicago for No Compadre. They announced that Megan Bayne will be facing Zeta Steel. What's interesting about this match, those who know this, Megan Bayne is AEW, while Zeta Steel is WWE ID. So that's going to be interesting. Another name has been announced for the upcoming Las Vegas show, Bloodsport 13 on the 17th of April. Simon Gotch will be there. Yeah, so that's going to be really interesting. I'm had a feeling that this will be in his wheelhouse. And then finally, they announced their debut city that they'll be making an appearance, and that will be in Kansas City, Missouri, on the 22nd of June of this year. So that's pretty much the GCW updates. Now let's go for more of the other stuff for the promotions. As you know, German promotion WXW will have their 16 karat gold. Now, on night 2 of their show, which is night 3 of their tournament, the European Championship that's been vacant will be decided on between Mike D. Vecchio and Levian, or hopefully I pronounce it right. Now, Barb Sasaki 25th anniversary show that will take place on the 10th of March, they announced another Stardom talent that will make her the fourth or fifth. Yeah, they already have Mayu Iwatani, Suzuki, Starlight Kid, I forgot who, Azuki, and now Saya Ida. So that's going to be interesting. Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling for their upcoming Mayhem event between the 14th and the 15th of March in Ontario, Canada. That Snake of the Grass, Don Callis, will be there as commentator, joining Mauro Rallo, I think that's his name. But yeah, and also Taiji Shimori will be making his appearance too. And then, of course, I haven't seen any of their material recently. Well, Ref Pro will have their epic encounter. J- RJK, better known as Ricky Knight Jr., who is Soraya's nephew, will be in action to take on JJ Gale. This will take place on the 16th of March. And then, of course, on the 22nd of March, NWA will have their Hard Time 5 event. The uh, the World Women's Tag Team belts will be on the line. Kenzie Page and Big Mama will defend their belts against Tiffany Nieves and Ms. Star. And then finally, the Shinjiro Takagi 30th anniversary project of Match, Make, and Agent Pro Wrestling show that will happen on April 9th. Jun Kasai will be appearing, and he will take on the cutest in the world, Maki Ito. So that's going to be bloody murder right there. So that's pretty much what's going on with the promotions on their upcoming events. So now let's move on with some developments. Fightful Select has reported, as you all know, Jazz made her reappearance recently in TNA during a battle royale. Well, it's been now told that she's been working backstage in an agent role for TNA. So I do know she has been known mostly for her great career with TNA. She didn't have that kind of thing she could have done with, of course, with WWE. But yeah, it would make sense. Triple H has announced that Poppy, if you guys know this, the same one who did the theme song to Io Sky, has released another song that will be a theme to their official Elimination Chamber called New Way Out. So yeah, that's pretty cool to hear. Reports have been coming in. This was coming from PW Insider that Leyla Hirsch will be out. Her contract with AW will expire. She decided not to remain with the promotion, so most likely some people are now speculating she probably will be making her way to WWE. Who knows? That's up to them if they are interested in her or not. But however, she will become a free agent soon enough. Mercedes Monet spoke to the Sakoff show about her goal and what she wants to do. She wants to help own a wrestling company of her own one day. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what that would do for her, but it's interesting that certain people would like to do that. Now, those who remember this or not, about a year ago or so, I reported that Joshi Promotion Diana, or better known as World Women's Pro Wrestling Diana, they went on a lawsuit when a photographer took inappropriate photos of the Yoshi wrestlers' talent, Diana's talent, sh- uh, taking photographs of their behinds, and that was inappropriate. Now, I don't know how long this thing was going on, but apparently they reported they settled this recently on the 17th of this month of February. It appears that they will be receiving $500,000 yen. So what does that mean in the U.S. currency? That's almost close to $3,340. So yeah, so basically that's pretty much what's been happening. So I'm glad that they managed to settle things. I'm sure that the girls will be safe now that this idiot, just stop doing stupid things like that. Now Santana actually went on and onto Malcolm Muscle and spoke about how proud he saw Penta signing with WWE, and this is what he had to say. Absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of him. So when wrestled each other at House of Glory, there were short documents that was filmed. That documentary was just put together for my personal thing, right? Because Penta and I, the Lucha Brothers and I, we have a deep history with each other. One year we wrestled each other 24 times around the world. We took that match everywhere. So we have very strong bond, very strong relationship. I knew everything was going on before it happened. So I hit him up and congratulated him. And I sent him that video and he sent me a voice memo tearing up. He was just special, man. And to see what he's doing now, I'm so proud of him. He's going to be a megastar. So, yeah, we have seen many times these two teams face off each other, both the Lucha Brothers and him with Ortiz when they were known as LAX or Proud and Powerful. But it's great to hear from that. And then finally, as you know, it's been a while since we heard from him. Eddie Kingston has been talking recently. Um, he talked to about what he's been doing during his downtime, and this is what he says: not having what wrestling really messed with my head. Thank God I have a lady and I got good friends around me. I'm not mentioning who because some at work other companies laugh and I don't want to ruin their stuff. I have good people around me. I really do and it just takes me a while to open up about it. As you can see, no haircut, no shave, going through my Brody era. Homicide and my mother said I look like Brody. She goes, "You look like that crazy guy who you used to watch always." So yeah, I'm doing okay. That's what long that was long. Just say I'm doing okay. He did mention about his physical health and physical and mental health. Physically, I feel like Shizman. Mentally, I feel like Shizman. So every day, I'm just working on getting better. Not, you know what I'm saying. Physical therapy, I've been through. It's been tough just to get physical therapy because of my insurance. I got a new insurance, and right then, when I was ready to start my new PT place, I started getting stomach issues. And I've waited long time. They had to do where they put a camera on my throat. Good that it happened now when I'm off, but I was in a lot of pain. And as of right now, it was nothing serious because I'm still awaiting the results. But from what the initial thing, it was like look, no cancer, no ulcer, no nothing. So him and my primary doctor were just like, how's stress for you? Laughs and said, how long do you have when you need their therapists to come here and talk? They're trying to get me not to stress out, calm down. But he also said he's been watching one particular person on his downtime, and that is Takeshita. He says, there is one person I've been watching, Takeshita. I've been watching. He's the only person I'll watch. So yeah, and Takeshita did saw it. Don't worry, guys. He posted on his X account, So basically, we may see those two face off soon enough. So we'll see what happens from here on out. But as the moment, we are now officially done with everything. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, don't know yet what's going to be the new one. I do know that there's going to be another Fantastica Mania event, so I may review that. I haven't decided what other ones, so we'll see how that will play out. But for now, I'm just going to wing it as possible. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.